This webinar is brought to you by agcareers.com. We are the #1 job board for agriculture, and we are involved in feeding the world with talent. So if you are interested in finding a job here in agriculture or in food, certainly come to agcareers.com to look at the different opportunities that are out there. We also have accounts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So you can keep in touch with us there to see our current offerings, current opportunities, and some helpful information and tips about your career search, navigating that, resume prep, all of those different types of things. So we're happy to help you and happy to assist you in that process. Another thing that I want to draw your attention to is we do have a series of Feed Your Future virtual career fairs. We are launching our North American events with the first of the series starting in October. So there will be specific events for different regions across the United States and Canada. So if you are looking to find a job in Canada or the US, there will be a lot of different opportunities featured at these upcoming virtual career fair events. So I would like to introduce you to our speaker. Our speaker today is Cameron Moser. He has worked for over a decade to improve the settlement and integration experience of Canadian immigrants. He currently oversees a wide portfolio at ACCESS Employment with a special focus on pre-arrival employment services. So thank you, Cameron, for taking the time to chat with our participants today and to share your knowledge. We really look forward to hearing from you. And it's kind of your turn to take the stage for the presentation. So Cameron will be available for questions afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. It's a real pleasure to be here today with all of you to talk about something which is really important, making a big change in your life, moving to a new country. That's a huge difference. I had that experience now 14 years ago in coming to Canada from the United States. And that experience shaped a lot of my professional journey in Canada as I pivoted careers and moved into something that supported others in making those career transitions as well. So I'm going to share my screen with all of you, and I'm going to talk briefly about some of the services that are available to individuals as they are preparing to come to Canada. We're also going to talk about different routes that individuals take in starting their careers in Canada. So today I'm going to talk to you briefly about getting ready for employment in Canada. And the question that always starts the beginning of that conversation is, how will you start your Canadian journey? There are really a couple different ways that people begin their careers in Canada, coming from overseas. One is immigration, immigrating to Canada as a permanent resident. And that is a process which, if you're interested in it, you got to get started, right? It's a very complex process. It takes a considerable amount of time, but it is a permanent process. It's built to help shape the Canadian economy, grow Canadian society through bringing in talented individuals from around the world who will add to Canadian culture and Canadian society. There's another avenue that you might take in starting your Canadian journey, and that is coming in through a work visa. Now, many of you, if you haven't started an immigration process and you're looking to start a career in agriculture and food in Canada, you may be approaching employers about your skills and how your skills might match up with their needs as businesses. And it would really behoove you to do some research into how you can communicate with those employers about your road into employment in Canada. Many large employers, multinationals, large national employers, they're very used to the processes that are a part of bringing someone into Canada with a work visa. It's a part of their everyday business. For smaller and medium-sized employers, that may not be something that they're used to doing. And so it's something that you want to inform yourself about. Now, I'm not an immigration consultant, so it's not something I would go into details on, but I do want to just start off today by talking about making sure that we know these two main routes to starting your Canadian journey. The one route is applying for permanent residency and coming as a permanent resident. And the other route is being given a work visa through an employer. Knowing those two routes and ensuring that you know how those work are very, very important to you, because without those, that journey doesn't start. Now, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about things that happen once you've been approved for permanent residency. Once you have been approved for permanent residency for Canada, if you've applied for immigration, you become eligible for a group of services that can support you in reaching your goals before you land in Canada. So this is a very exciting part of the work that I do, and it's very different than a lot of the other services that are available to immigrants in Canada, because it's built around getting ready before you land, right? Being ready to talk to employers, talking to those employers, building your professional network, securing employment before you land. So those kind of services that happen in a pre-arrival service environment are a huge benefit to the people that take part in them. And they're built around the idea of accelerating your transition into Canadian life. What they do is they help build a better understanding of what Canadian employers might be looking for. They build understanding and information on Canadian workplaces. They have a lot of networking opportunities to build your professional network, access to mentoring, and critically, access to employers, because that's one of the most important things that you need, right? Is getting in front of the employers in the industry that you're looking to work within, so that they know about you, you know about them, and you have the chance to connect with them. Those resources and programs that come in the pre-arrival environment are all built around education, training, networking, skills building, real things that we know are all critical pieces of achieving employment success. All of those things that are present for people who have been approved to immigrate to Canada are also things that individuals do regardless of whether they've been approved to immigrate or not. So if you were someone who was looking to secure employment through a visa route in Canada and come to Canada in that way, these are all things that would still be very important for you to be doing, to be learning about work culture in the area that you're landing in, to be learning about the types of job-seeking behaviors in terms of resumes, cover letters, interviews, networking modes that would benefit you the most as you're seeking that employer to get into Canada in the first place. So everything that I'm talking to you about that is important to prepare to come to Canada as an approved immigrant is also important to you if you're coming to Canada to connect with an employer. And those are things that you can be doing. Typically, you would be doing them in a less structured environment because the government doesn't fund those services. We do have at ACCESS Employment, though, a range of employment services that are more drop-in, small group, webinar-based, online services that support anybody around the world in developing these skills. So I'm going to give you some information later on about that and how you can engage with those resources. I've been mentioning a little bit about my employer, ACCESS Employment. We are a fairly large employment services organization in the Greater Toronto area, but we also serve individuals across Ontario, across Canada, and around the world through a wide variety of services. And we do all of that with a very specific vision in mind. And our vision is that we will have a fully inclusive labor force that reflects the diversity, skills, and experience of Canada's population. So at the heart of our mission is ensuring that everybody can contribute their skills fully in supporting the lives and the growth of their communities. And we produce a lot of results in that. In 2020, we served over 39,000 individuals. We had 162,000 job seeker visits, both in person and online. We had an 83% success rate in the clients that we were serving reaching the goals that they had. So really, really results that we're proud of, and that we are proud to be making such an impact in people's lives. The reason that we're able to do that is because we have a very wide variety of programs that help people in different sectors with different experience levels facing different barriers. So we offer programs that support individuals at the very, very highest skill levels, all the way down to individuals who are seeking to break into the labor market for the first time and face real barriers to doing so. That gives us a wide perspective on the needs that individuals have and the types of employers that we would want to be working with in regards to those needs. The pre-arrival employment program that I talked with you about earlier, Canadian Employment Connections, is a Canada-wide sector-specific pre-arrival employment service that supports job seekers in securing employment within their fields, either before landing in Canada or shortly thereafter. If you've already been approved to land in Canada and you meet the requirements listed on the screen here, then this would be a way for you to really kickstart your life, to make sure that you're coming in and having a real solid chance on getting a job before you land in Canada or very soon thereafter, instead of landing and then trying to find a job. We help professionals with a good degree, with a minimum of 2 years of experience in financial services, engineering, HR, entrepreneurship, leadership, sales and marketing, supply chain. So a lot of the jobs that are present within agriculture fall across these categories. And it's important to note that the types of jobs that we support individuals in getting are not kind of entry-level positions that they're doing because they can't find anything else. We're really working to support others in reaching their full goals and securing employment that's commensurate with their skills and experience. In the 2021 fiscal year, we served 1,081 clients in our Canadian Employment Connection. 29% of the clients that we served secured a job before landing in Canada. 88% of them total secured a job in their first year in Canada. Those are things that we're exceptionally proud of. And we did that through a wide variety of e-learning, webinars, networking events, individual supports to help people with really individualized things that they need, and additional supports such as hiring events, connections to professional organizations, making referrals to other services as needed. So really looking at the full gamut of training needs that individuals have in order to be successful. Remember a little bit earlier, I mentioned to you that this is a very structured program and it's for individuals who have been approved to immigrate to Canada. However, many of the aspects of this program, e-learning, webinars, and networking connections, we do make available to individuals around the world, regardless of whether they've been approved to immigrate to Canada or not. Those are available through our online services. A little bit later, I'll show you that on our webpage. If you're interested in more information about the Canadian Employment Connections Program, or if you have friends or family who are in the process of immigrating to Canada, please feel free to reach out to us directly at cec@accessemployment.ca. We can help guide you in whether or not this program would be a good fit for you, and also then steer you to other things that may be of benefit. It's very important to us that we never just turn someone away completely. We always guide them to some resources that will help them. If you do end up landing in Canada, in the Greater Toronto Area, we have offices across the GTA, in Toronto, Scarborough, North York, Mississauga, Brampton, Markham, and Newmarket. And that's the end of my formal presentation. I want to leave a lot of time here for us to be able to have a Q&A. So I've taken down my screen share there, and I'll just do a quick recap before we get into that. And I think kind of the thing that I want to recap here and make sure that we're all familiar with and aware of is that you've got two main streams in starting your life in Canada. You have that stream where you would be coming in as an approved permanent resident, you've got a stream where you would be coming in with a visa attached to an employer. Both of those are viable options for people in different times and different circumstances. If you are in the stream of individuals who have been approved for permanent residency, there's a wide variety of government-funded programs that are available to you to get your career started as quickly as possible, and also for a wide variety of other things that you might need to help you figure out about how to get your kids into school, to learn about housing and the housing market, to become familiar with Canadian employment laws, and make sure that you're fully informed and aware of how to work in a safe environment once you come to Canada. So there's a wide variety of those programs and services that are available to you. And then also, if you are coming or looking to come with a visa attached to an employer, there are also services that are available to you, slightly less structured, right? But still helping you to build those skills and experience, to talk to employers, to build some connections, and to really learn about the Canadian marketplace and what you're looking at there. I'm going to share screen again just for a second here to show you our webpage and how you might find that. So you'll see on our screen here, this is our webpage at ACCESS Employment, accessemployment.ca with one S. On your bottom here, you'll have different things that will help guide you through our webpage about joining a workshop and event. When you click there, you'll bring up a list of the types of events that may be open to you and the workshops that would be open to you. How to call or visit us. As well, you'll see Vera here. Vera here is our chatbot. You can talk to Vera, give her some of your basic information, and she'll do a lot of that work for you. Look through the web page and tell you what types of webinars might fit with what you're looking to do, what types of events could be good for you, and how we can support you, regardless of your immigration status, in learning more about work in Canada and how to start your career in Canada. So I'd highly encourage you to visit our webpage, to look through the types of workshops and events that are available to you. There are a lot of things there that are offered on a daily basis that will support you in getting ready for employment in Canada and building the skills that you need to connect with employers in Canada. So that's a little bit about our programs, both in our more structured part and in our webinars and workshops that we run for individuals. I really encourage you to take a look at all of that, and I'm more than happy to take some time now to answer your questions that you might have for me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your advice with us, Cameron. I'm so impressed with what an impact you and your colleagues are able to make for all of these newcomers to Canada and all of the different supports and resources that are available both once they arrive and even before they come. So it's really interesting to find out what services are out there and that there are so many opportunities for support. So thank you very much for going through that. If any of our participants have any questions, please drop them in the chat box. I do have a couple of questions that I could start with, if you don't mind, and to kind of get the conversation rolling. So I'm wondering if you guys have had experience in placements or jobs in agriculture and food. I know you and I chatted a little bit about that, but if you could speak to that a little bit, that would be great.
Yeah, so we have been supporting individuals in a wide variety of positions in ACCESS for over 30 years. In the last couple of years, through our pre-arrival services, we have supported multiple individuals in moving into the food sector. And it's very interesting in agriculture sector, and it's interesting to me the range of positions that they have. So some of the individuals we supported in moving into agricultural sector are engineers who are working in mechanical engineering and chemical engineering. We've also supported individuals in supply chain because obviously logistics is a huge part of agricultural work, getting things from point A to point B. And occasionally we do serve individuals who have backgrounds in things like agronomy, food science, right, and are looking for positions that match those. Sometimes the more defined the position like that, the more clear the process is. There are only so many agronomists. There are only so many people with those, and those are high demand jobs, right? So we see consistently a high demand for from the employers that we work with for individuals across sectors in agricultural jobs. A lot of that is because a large number of immigrants who come to Canada settle either in Toronto, Calgary, or Vancouver. They settle in major urban areas. The headquarters of many agricultural companies are not, in downtown Toronto or downtown Vancouver. And so as the company that's looking for someone in a more rural area has a harder time relatively attracting highly skilled talent to that area. And that gives a big advantage to someone who's willing to go lots of different places.
Absolutely. So I see a question in the chat section saying that there's somebody that has experience working in financial services with an agricultural economist to Master of Science, and are there opportunities for this type of background?
Yeah, so I think when we look at certain positions, like very specific positions, one of the important things that we do in the work that we do with clients is we work on how to develop labor market information skills, right? And so developing labor market information skills and learning about the labor market is a key part of those services. And I would just say that when we look through kind of job postings, you've got to develop a skill of figuring out what your skill set is and how that relates to a wide variety of job postings. You may go on to a random job board and search for agricultural economist and find nothing. But if you search for economist and there are 10 agricultural companies there, they're not always naming the position agricultural economist, right? So determining whether or not there's a real demand for that position takes some work, right? You got to look into it and figure out what's there. I will say that somebody with a master's degree in economics who has experience in the agricultural sector, my guess just working in employment services is that there's not a lot of people with your skills, and generally that looks good because that may be working for an agricultural company, it may be working for a bank in their trading department, developing business intelligence or investment intelligence about commodities markets, right? There's a wide variety of things that you do. And a big part of preparing to land in Canada is figuring out those things that you might do and how they differ from how that job might be described in your home country.
Absolutely, that's great advice. Yeah, and also I can speak to our agcareers.com job boards. We have lots of jobs in agricultural finance, agricultural economics. Definitely the banking sector is always looking for people with agriculture experience that can talk the talk of agriculture, but have that finance background and finance information. So certainly there's lots of resources and lots of opportunities available. I see another question in the chat about whether you assist in getting credit or recognition of education in Canada for overseas degrees, masters, that kind of thing, just because some employers aren't necessarily familiar or want some clarification of what that means from that country versus here.
Yeah, so a lot of what we would do in regard to that is we stick very clearly to employment. We believe that you can do one thing really well, you should do that thing. So we work closely with partners such as World Education Services. And World Education Services is a global expert in educational credentialing and equivalencies. So what they would do is they would work with you to examine your educational credentials and then just issue a certificate that says those credentials are equivalent to XYZ in Canada. It depends on where your credentials are from, and whether or not a Canadian employer might recognize the educational institution that those are from. But typically, World Education Services is the group that we work with, and they work across North America, both Canada and the US, in doing equivalencies for education.
Perfect. That's great. Oh, I see another question just came in from a poultry nutritionist with experience working at research institutes, wondering about opportunities for this. So, I mean, I can speak to that if you want, Cameron.
Yep.
There are certainly opportunities. I encourage you can reach out to me directly. I can't speak to what particular opportunities are available right this minute, right today. But there's certainly opportunities in poultry nutrition, whether it's the research side, whether it's the sales side, the formulation side. There's lots of opportunities in the nutrition sector with a variety of different nutrition companies that are servicing the poultry industry. So it kind of depends on what's available at that moment, but certainly there are a number of companies servicing the poultry sector here in Ontario and across Canada and the US. So there are lots of options. Certainly Cameron would be able to chat with you about, if you've been approved to immigrate, kind of if you need some help with some of those services that they offer. But you can also check out our job board to see if there's positions available, or you can connect with me on LinkedIn or send me an email as well. And I'm happy to chat with you about kind of what might be there, but a search would show you if there's some options open right now in that field. Do you have something else to add, Cameron?
No, I was just going to say for Chris's question, once people get
Yep.
jobs in Canada, how is it? If someone comes to Canada as on a visa, temporary worker visa, you bring your immediate family with you. And the way that the system works in Canada is that the temporary work visa is usually on a continuum that individuals can be on that leads to permanent residency, right? So somebody might come as on a temporary foreign worker visa, and then later on apply for permanent residency from within Canada, and you would then have bonus points within that system because you have work experience in Canada, right? So it's really built on that continuum to support people in settling permanently in Canada, because it's largely not a system that's supposed to just cycle people in and out of the country.
That's great feedback. Thank you. I see Abner's question about ag tech or precision agriculture. Again, if you search on our agcareers.com website, there's an advanced search function on the website. You can go into there and select by different parameters. So if you're looking for a specific city in Canada or a specific province, you can search by that. You can also search by different career titles. Opportunities within ag tech and precision agriculture certainly exist. There's so many opportunities in that sector across North America. So yes, there's definitely options there and opportunities, especially depending on what your previous experience or background is in that field. So I encourage you, again, utilize that advanced search function on the agcareers.com website to search for those precision ag type jobs. Again, you can reach out to me directly, and I'm happy to help kind of steer you towards those.
And if I can add something to that, Katie, I think one thing I mentioned when I was speaking earlier is that if you're interested in employment in Canada and you're talking with employers, and you know that employer would need to sponsor you to come to Canada with a visa, it would really behoove you to do research on that process and to be upfront about that process and know what it is. So if you can imagine sitting in the employer's shoes, and I've got two candidates, both of them relatively equally skilled, both of them I would need to sponsor for a visa. One of them has no clue what that means, and the other one comes to me and says, I'm out of country right now, I'm hoping to come to Canada in this way. We would need to work through these processes together for me to be able to join you and support you in your business. Wow, that kind of answer really shows a seriousness about making that huge jump in your life. Because to not have any background on that, it's far too important of a thing to not do some research on. And you don't need to become an expert in it, but you should at least know some of those key terms and terminologies as you engage with potential employers.
That's very wonderful advice. I think that's a great thing to think about if you aren't yet approved and that's the process that you're looking at. Having yourself informed and going to that employer well informed, I think really sets you up for more success. I see another question in the chat about trying to get placements of jobs in Canada, but asking for work permits, residence permits, and proof of permission to work in Canada. Many are willing to employ us, but put it off because we're out of Canada.
Yeah, so I would say two things there. I think employers obviously do a lot of work in bringing people into Canada for work, right? So there are, I don't know the number right off the top of my head, a quick Google search could show there's 500 and in 2017, there were about 550,000 temporary foreign workers in Canada. Right? That's a lot of people. So it's not as if employers are not willing to do that. You've got to look at it as a cost-benefit calculation on their side. The more niche your skill set, I would say the more likely that is to happen, right? Because you've got 2 people to hire, or 10 people to hire, 20 people to hire. If I've got 50 people who I could hire to fill one position, I'm probably not going to go out of my way to sponsor somebody because there's legal cost to that. I got to hire an immigration lawyer, I've got to file paperwork, this and that. However, if you're in a very niche skill set, or you're willing to go to a geographical area where there are not many people with that skill set, then you have a higher relative advantage and employers are more likely to engage with you in that way. So you've got to really think about that from the employer's perspective and figure out how you might communicate with them in regards to that.
Great reply. That's awesome. So I know when you were doing your presentation, you talked a lot about the programs, and I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask anyways. But is there a cost to some of these programs? Are they all funded through the government?
All of the programs that I was talking about are fully funded by the Canadian government, so they're free to individuals who've been approved for permanent residency. And then when I took you to the ACCESS Employment webpage, I didn't pull up the listing of events and webinars and workshops because that'll be out of date if someone looks at this on a later video. But all of those webinars and workshops and e-learning opportunities are available to anyone around the world for free. So there's no kind of gatekeeper there on those. So if there is, I believe, next week we have a webinar coming up from a financial services organization. We have another workshop that's being led on regularly, workshops that are led on interview skills, on networking skills. So all of those are free and available to you, and I'd encourage you to take advantage of them and join, because that's going to help you develop an awareness of what the labor market is like in Canada and how you can better communicate with employers.
Wonderful. That's great. I see a question about quality assurance specialist for vegetables and fruits. If that's the role that you are looking for, I would encourage you again to do a search on our website, on the agcareers.com website, but also sometimes those fruit and vegetable specific kind of positions are sometimes also listed on our careersandfood.com website. So great search functions there, great abilities to kind of check and see what's out there. Again, if something isn't posted in that specific field today, something could come up tomorrow. So I encourage you to check back. We also have a newsletter that comes out weekly. So you can sign up for our newsletters on our website. And they provide some job information, different tips and tricks. But also you can enter your resume into our database. So on both Careers in Food and Ag Careers, we have a resume database. You can put in your information, and then when employers are looking for a candidate with your experience, looking for a career in a specific field, they can actually reach out to you directly because they can search through our database and find you. So if you are actively looking for a career in a specific field, upload that resume and then they can search it and they can find you as well. So, I mean, certainly still apply for those jobs as they come up, but know that they could find you that way as well. I see another question about agriculturalist, food scientist. Again, depending on what process you're looking at, whether you're looking to apply for immigration to Canada first, or whether you're looking to find a job and get a visa to come over, that's going to differ your process a little bit, but there's certainly lots of food science jobs here in Canada. Again, those websites, both that Cameron put down and that I've put down in the chat, are great spots to go and search out those different jobs that are available if you're looking at going at it that way. But I think taking into consideration Cameron's advice that he mentioned about coming prepared to an employer if you are going for an interview, knowing what that process looks like on your end and how you can assist that employer in getting that visa paperwork is going to be important and helpful as well. We've talked about people that have some experience coming and immigrating and you helping them to find that. But what if they are immigrating to Canada and they don't have a lot of experience? They don't have a strong, they don't have maybe the previous education or tons of work experience. What about them? Is there opportunities for them if they're kind of looking for more entry-level positions? Is that something you can help with as well?
Yeah, it's what we typically work with individuals in that area is we work with a wide variety of partners in the pre-arrival service space, and our programs typically focus on individuals with 3 to 5 years of education, a minimum of 2. Many of our partners, though, work with individuals who are just coming into the labor market. And so we would always make a referral to those partners. And they just have a slightly different focus in their programs because a lot of the work that we do is to help someone who is saying, I've got 10 years in all of these different things. How do I explain this to a Canadian employer? And someone who's just coming into the labor market needs a very different set of services than that.
Thank you. I'm glad that this has been helpful for you. So I think, are there opportunities for trainings too? Would you like to speak again, Cameron, about the opportunities for trainings that you guys have available for?
The training that we do in our programs is non-academic training, right? So anyone who is taking part in our programs, we do a wide variety of skills building and training. However, it's all non-academic. Because in Canada, the provincial government is responsible for academic training. The federal government doesn't then fund academic training, right, for different services. However, we do use a variety of platforms that individuals have access to, including LinkedIn Learning, which has a wide variety of training programs that individuals can take. However, as I mentioned, non-academic training, right? There's not a certificate, there's not a degree. But that's a great question, and thank you guys so much for all of your questions today.
Perfect. So this, like I said, will also be available as a recording afterwards so that you can rewatch it. Also have casual labor opportunities. Again, you can check out opportunities in agriculture and food on agcareers.com and careersinfood.com. So there are definitely lots of opportunities, lots of jobs, not enough people to fill all the jobs in agriculture and food right now. So we are definitely looking for people willing to work. So the recording will be available. You'll be able to access it on our website, and you can shoot me an email if you have any questions. It's in the chat function. So thank you so much for your time, Cameron. You've shared a wealth of information that's been very helpful. I feel like I've learned a lot from it, so I'm sure our viewers have as well. So thank you for your time, and thank you to our attendees for taking the time to be with us today. I hope this has been helpful for you. And thank you, Cameron, for taking so much time to answer their
questions. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for inviting me, Katie. It was a pleasure to talk with all of you today.
Take care.
Have a wonderful day.
You too.